Welcome to the Football Yanks podcast, covering the English Premier League with a special focus on our fellow Americans. And now your hosts, Derek and Ryan.
Welcome to the Football Yanks Halloween Spooktacular, where we will be discussing nightmarish, horrifying things like Tottenham being at the top of the table, Chelsea having a perfect record against Brentford at home. It's just the wrong kind of perfect record. And much, much more. We're going to run through what we think are the most relevant EPL matches that happened over the weekend. It was a packed weekend with like overlapping games. It was a lot to manage. I'm going to talk about the Ballon d'Or a bit, and there will be more. Yeah, we're going to do a Yanks in the Ranks segment. I'm joined today by Derek and Luke. So Luke is returned.
We are top of the league. We are top of the league. We are top of the league. We are top of the league.
The nightmare continues.
About 1/3 of the way through the season, too.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
like it's
not
not
insignificant.
Yeah, this is. I know you keep saying there will be a fall off, but
Next 4 games will tell us a lot. I think in general in the whole league, the next 4 to 6 games.
Yeah, a lot of really big fixtures coming up. So we already kind of did a catch up ahead of this. Luke isn't paying his internet bills.
I'm actually doing a hunger fast against Xfinity.
The hunger strike.
Yeah, hunger strike. Thank you.
And it improved the sound quality, which is the remarkable part.
It's didn't they used to say it's Comcastic or something like that before they rebranded to
Wow, was that like
Xfinity?
How many years ago was that before I was paying a bill?
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago, honestly. Yeah.
Well, the truth is I'm probably still using my next door neighbor's internet anyway, so I have no reason to protest.
To complain. Yeah, so like Comcast went on this run where they were voted like the worst company in the world.
Because they are. 2
or 3 times in a row. And so to solve that, they rebranded as Xfinity. So
yeah, it's kind of like how
Exelon
rebrands every 2 to 3 years.
Yeah. Well, how was your weekend, Luke? What have you been up to? I
never see you anymore. I was out in Massachusetts for about 4 days. Yeah. I shouldn't shade on Boston, but it's just not my favorite city. I do like the surrounding area. But I went to a really cool bar north of Boston and sat next to some season ticket holders from Tottenham, from North London. Had really interesting conversations with this older couple. They got me really excited for the continuing Premier League season. And other than that, I did Rise Up, which is a big bartending event out in Baltimore on Sunday. So yesterday I was a useless human being. So that's kind of my life.
But you played soccer.
I did somehow. I would say not very well. And I played soccer on Sunday, a full 11s game, but not very well on Monday. It was a little bit of a struggle.
You guys have like a ringer on that team now, right? Like,
I don't know. When this one kid, when the one dude, David, is pretty skillful, pretty good at dribbling. And other than that, we're kind of like all similar kinds of players. It's a lot of like semi-defensive players. So I play up top, which is not the best solution for us, but it's all good.
Yeah, David, I thought I heard, so I went and watched a game, and I thought someone said he was in like some system over, like he was in England for a while, right? Or is he British?
I don't know. I actually don't know. I've never really asked him about
he's in
himself.
Some team's system in England, I guess, is what I heard.
Yeah, he's okay. Yeah, he's a good player. He's a little different from all of us.
Yeah.
Not quite. Yeah, no, he is a little bit of a ringer because he can do something different than all of us. But yeah, we get along pretty well. When me and him are clicking, we're going to score goals for sure.
Yeah. Sweet.
Yeah. How about Derek? I want to know what Derek did this weekend.
Yeah.
No more car accidents. Any concerts?
Do you have a car?
Yeah. Do you have a car? Have you gotten a car yet?
Where would you guys like me to start?
So you bought a scooter and you're riding a scooter around Baltimore.
Oh man, the car shopping continues. I did make some progress on that. I mean, dealing with car dealers is like not like the most enjoyable thing I can do. But I do enjoy when they say the wrong thing or irritate me, because then the gloves come off and it's just kind of a good conduit for all the built up, pent up anger.
Stress relief.
Yeah. Since I don't have soccer, right? I can't play soccer. So there's make somebody else the target. And there's a lot of willing targets out there.
If there's something you don't need more of, it's outlets for you to scream at.
Yeah. Instead of destroying your knee, you're going to have a brain aneurysm.
Yeah.
Jesus.
What else? Yeah, what else is this weekend? Yeah, I watched some more. We're watching Midnight Mass on Netflix. I know that's been out for a while, but that's a good Halloween-y, nightmarish, spooky show.
Yeah. I think we may have ruined Shannon for horror movies on, what was that, Friday? Like she the next day she was like, I cannot do this anymore. Like she was like, she was doing one a year for Halloween, and after we watched Evil Dead Rise, and she was like, what, like, why does this exist? Like, I don't think she slept that night, and she was like, I'm never participating in this again. So I think she'll be absent from the annual Nichols Halloween horror movie night going forward. But yeah, I can't get her to watch Midnight Mass is the punchline there.
No, yeah, that makes sense. Evil Dead didn't mess me up, but like I don't feel feelings anyway, so that's probably why I was unbothered.
Yeah, I slept great, and I wasn't even like, she thought I was trolling her, but like the next morning I woke up and I was like, I feel like $1 million. Like I slept like a champ, and she was like, what is wrong with you? Yeah.
Well, I'm still getting over The Ring in 4th grade, so
yeah,
I might not have watched a scary movie since that. That and Jeepers Creepers fucked me up when I was like 11.
Yeah, The Ring. Something about those movies, man. They were a lot. You guys want to get into it?
Let's do it.
All right. So the first, I kind of did these in the order that they were played when I threw these down here, and I picked out games that I felt were of relevance. And yeah, Luke is typing top of the fucking league into the Google Doc that we're working out of. Yeah. So, Crystal Palace 1, Tottenham 2. I only watch the highlights of this. That's all I can like bring myself to do. Luke, do you have any hot takes from this game? What are your thoughts?
Pretty boring game, to be honest. I think Crystal Palace did pretty well. Yeah, like I'd say a relatively boring game. Good that we won it. It's kind of one of those professional matches Spurs need to win. The big story for me, hot take, is Rodrigo Bentancur coming back is going to give us a real lift in the center of the park, especially when Sarr and Basuma go to the African Cup of Nations, which is going to have a huge impact on the league going forward this season anyway. But Bentancur coming back is huge. Johnson coming back is huge. So we're looking okay. I'm excited for the games ahead with Chelsea, Man City, not too far away. I think Chelsea is going to be a real test of what we can do, another high possession team. So I think that's going to be an interesting game.
Chelsea haven't been lately, weirdly.
No,
it's kind of a weird phenomena of the, like, whatever Pochettino is tweaking there is early in the season, Chelsea were holding onto the ball quite a bit. And more recently, it's like they've been allowing possession to go the other way so they can try to hit on a counter. And that appeared to be working out well. I mean, we'll get to Chelsea here in a bit as my nightmare continues, but this is a good example to me, this Crystal Palace game, of Tottenham doing what Chelsea can't do right now, and that's, not like Tottenham, got 3 points out of a team that they should get 3 points out of, whereas Chelsea seems to be playing down to the level of the team they're playing. They'll come out and look like they could beat Arsenal, and actually they outplayed Arsenal. I don't think anyone is arguing the other way on that game. They should have won. There were a few mistakes that were made, and Arsenal made Chelsea pay for it, but Chelsea can't get it done in these games, and Tottenham did. So
yeah, well, I think and I think it's a good segue into Chelsea, because I don't think that Tottenham and Chelsea are really playing that necessarily different. I think the press is a little bit more aggressive from Spurs, and I think the real difference is we have somebody at the spear of the team and Son who can score and is trusted to score and who knows how to score in the Premier League. Chelsea doesn't really have that, and Nicholas Jackson's his name, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I like it. It just doesn't seem to be working right now. I think Chelsea are always also going to be a team this year that plays better against better teams, and not so good against the lower opposition. I think Pochettino had the same problem in that first 8 months at Tottenham, way back in 13, 14, 15. We were really not scoring enough, and it took Harry Kane's emergence to kind of change that tide. I just think that something similar has to happen at Chelsea. And the Brentford example is such a good one of them not playing down to, because Brentford's a good team, but a team like Brentford taking advantage very clinically of the issues currently at Chelsea.
Yeah.
Any more hot takes other than Son being better than Nicholas Jackson?
I guess that's not that hot of a take. I think Richarlison's probably better than Nicholas Jackson.
That's right there. Yeah. There's the Halloween spooky, scary fact of the day.
Did you see Nicholas Jackson was like arguing with a fan?
Yeah, it's not. They're frustrated. That whole team is really under it. I hope they don't sack Poch too quickly.
I don't think they will. Yeah. I'm actually not concerned about that at all. I don't think they'll do it. Who would they bring in? And furthermore, Poch isn't doing this game aside. I think this was we can just go right into talking about Chelsea, I guess. I don't know what the fuck he was thinking with this lineup. This was wild. Leaving Malo Gusto and Reece James on the bench to start Axel Disasi as the right back was remarkable. I just
Ten Hag-esque.
Yeah. I don't know what he was thinking with that decision.
Well, you don't think he's managing Reece James? I think he sees Reece James as the obvious long-term solution to a lot of problems. But he doesn't want Reece James' injury record's so bad.
Yeah. So
I feel he's probably managing his injury, his fitness,
play
right?
Malo Gusto out there,
fair
play Cucurella out there, move Colwell out to left. Cucurella has been playing. Axel Disasi wasn't even on the depth chart. This was some sort of deliberate, he thought he saw something with Brentford that putting Disasi there. This was a tactical decision, and the first goal was directly a result of Disasi switching off. So yeah, I don't know what that was.
Brentford's are no slouch though. That's a good team. It's a really good football team.
And they played a low block and counter style, which
they do every game.
Right. But that is if I'm any team at this point and I'm looking at how Chelsea can't break down a team that's doing that, I would just do that to them. Because you see how good Chelsea plays against a Liverpool and an Arsenal who just come at them. Chelsea does have a good defensive record. This game isn't indicative of that, but they're among the best defenses in the league still this season. I think that's still true.
Yeah, Pochettino has a great history of that. Yep.
They have a solid midfield. And so these teams that come at them, they can just absorb it and hit them on the break. And they just fare so much better against that. They lack the creativity and a potent, like, clinical finisher who's going to, like, bag the goals, the opportunities that are worked for them to break down these teams right now. And they have to get a 9 in January, or this will just keep happening to Chelsea. Like,
but where's the money going to come from for a number 9? They're not. They can't spend. Yeah, they can't spend $60 million more pounds or euros or whatever.
I think they can.
You think they can, even with FIFA financial fair play? I feel like that's going to come up on them, even though they've cleared off the debt, they've cleared the players into Saudi Arabia. I feel like at some point it's going to catch up with them in terms of their wage structure versus their income, because it's not just transfer fees. It's like, how are they going to pay another player £200,000 a week? I just don't see it,
because they don't pay.
I guess
players. Like that
that's all on longer term incentivized structures, right? Is that their model?
Yeah. So, like, what's been lost in the you may not have been on the episodes where we talked about this, but what's been lost in the, like, gaudy transfer fees for Chelsea is that they shaved, I think it was like £100 million of wages off their bill
by pushing players into Saudi Arabia, right?
But so that, and the players that they're replacing them with, for some reason, like, I don't know how they're doing this, but, like, wages aren't public, but the rumor is, like, Mykhailo Mudryk, for example, is on like 89 a week, and
something small, yeah.
Yeah, and that's, like, all of them, like Enzo, like, all of these players that they brought in, they're on minimal base wages and then highly incentivized. Like, it's structured like you would American sports. So if they hit goal scoring tallies or make the Champions League
appearance, stuff like that,
then it all goes up. So I mean, that's almost a Caicedo deal every window that they have shaved off the wage bill. And they're a commercial powerhouse. Like, I don't know. So the rumor is, or the word is, that they have, like, they're well within FFP right now. Obviously we won't know until the books come out. I don't know when that happens, but
I know that their strategy for paying down transfer fees over a long period of time, that was kind of a loophole that they exploited. I think that loophole is now closed now, though. I thought that FIFA closed that loophole.
UEFA did, but the FA did not. So, like, they're not in the Champions League. So I think they're basically gambling right now and saying, like, we're going to sign these long deals, and when we get back in the Champions League, they're going to have to grandfather us in because we weren't under those rules. Yeah.
Oh, I think that's when it will get interesting if and when they make the Champions League, and it doesn't look like they will this year, or another European competition. That'd be interesting. But so what's a striker out there? Like, this is not just a Chelsea issue. I think there's not a load of number 9s in the world right now. Even Tottenham, I think for sure has been in the market for a new number 9. Arsenal, even, there's been rumors about. Obviously they don't need it after beating Sheffield 5-0. But, like, what are the number 9s that have the stature to go to a club like Chelsea, Tottenham?
So the two that are linked with Chelsea right now. Well, so to, like, just answer your first question, like wrap that up. I think they're going to sell Trevoh Chalobah in January. I think he's going to go to Bayern Munich. And that is just, like, the term that everybody's been using is pure profit. So, like, that goes straight on the books because he's from the academy. Yeah. And then they can sign, some striker to a 7-year deal or whatever. and that will amortize that over however many years, and what they sell Chalobah for will cover the first like 1 or 2 years, and then they're banking on like sorting it out later, right? So the two that they're heavily linked with are Ivan Toney, who will be available in January, but Arsenal are also interested in him, and then Victor Osimhen are the two. So Osimhen's entering the last year of his deal. He has walked away from re-signing with Napoli. There's photos of him in a Chelsea kit as a kid, just like Caicedo. I think that's risky. Like, I like Osimhen a lot, but like, I've just been burned so many times by Serie A strikers at this point. They like Higuain, Lukaku, what's his name? Murata.
Yeah. Well, Murata's kind of continued to do well. It's just he wasn't made for the Premier League. Yeah, I think. Yeah, that's interesting. I think there are. I held the same kind of fear of Serie A strikers. They just don't do as well when they come back or come over to England. It's really interesting.
Yeah. And then Brentford remains unbeaten at the Bridge. They're 3-0 at Stamford Bridge.
Thomas Frank is a good manager.
Yeah. Chelsea have won 1 game at home since last February.
How do you pay for a season ticket and keep watching them lose?
I don't know, man.
I imagine
Derek,
Derek's response to watching them lose every week.
I just wish we move on to another subject. I think that's what I'd like to do. But in all seriousness, and Nkunku is going to come back at some point, right? And maybe they fill part of that void there, especially since you want to have Palmer on the pitch at this point. I think he's obviously healthy is a better option than Jackson, at least. Maybe there's not maybe there's a dearth of other strikers on the market, but I don't know. I would take Dominic Calvert-Lewin over anyone we have on the roster at the moment. I think there's people out there we could go buy.
He fits the mold. We like to buy very injury-prone players.
Yeah. Yeah, so...
Well, I think in general there is a dearth of 9s. I don't think Ivan Toney's going anywhere.
Yeah,
you don't? I thought that was a done deal that they were going to sell him, that he wanted to move on. I didn't think that part was even up for debate. I thought he was going somewhere. He will go somewhere.
Hot take. I don't think he'll go in January.
Really?
I think he's going to be really expensive in January. I think he'll go in the summer.
That is a hot take. I don't think anyone is thinking that way. Yeah. Who's the guy? It's Simon Jordan on TalkSport. Luke, do you listen to TalkSport?
The former owner of Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
He
put an article out. Imagine this. He published an article, so it wasn't even off the cuff. He was in the moment on his stream or his radio show and just threw this out there, and it was a bit of a gaffe. He published an article that said that Chelsea will win the Premier League within 2 seasons. I think he said 2 to 3 seasons. After that Brentford game, he called that shot. Today, I think it came out, or maybe yesterday.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, he obviously...
Are you sure about that?
Yeah,
obviously doesn't know anything about managing a football club because he almost bankrupted Crystal Palace, if I'm right.
Yeah.
He doesn't have nearly the amount of football manager experience that Ryan has.
Well, I don't think they're going to make Europe this year. I think they're going to finish outside the top 6.
Yeah, it's feeling more and more like that.
I need somebody to pass me the sedatives before Luke drops any more hot takes in this podcast today.
Oh, I got more.
All right, well, we can move on. So we got Arsenal 5, Sheffield 0. I find this like an unremarkable game. Like, I don't even know what to talk about here.
I thought your show note was very insightful.
Which one? About Sheffield being bad? They're so bad.
Are bad.
I think so bad.
This Premier League season is interesting. It's like, there's like 8 teams who I would say are in their own league, are good teams. And then there's a clot of really bad teams. And then Chelsea find themselves somewhere in the middle. Maybe Brentford do too. But there's like a lot of bad teams and like 6 to 8 really good teams.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of feeling like these promoted teams can beat any of the established sides week in and week out. It's interesting. I feel like years gone by, there's a little bit more competition.
I feel like it's interesting. I felt very differently about that. So I think there's like 4 teams: Bournemouth, Sheffield, Luton, Burnley. They, to me, seem like they are in a league of their own in a bad way. Like, they are just not Premier League quality teams. And of those 4, Bournemouth is really confusing because I thought they'd be okay. I think they have a new sugar daddy owner type. I forget what exactly happened this summer, but they spent something on the order of like 150, 200 million pounds on signings. Like, they went in big in the market.
They also fired Gary O'Neill after Gary O'Neill kept them up, which shows like a bad decision now.
Yeah. I think that was part of the like new ownership coming in and being like, you're not my guy. We're going to bring our guy in type thing. Anyway, those 4 teams are basically, they're fighting. Like, one of them obviously will survive, and that's the fight there. And then you've got the 4 at the top or maybe 5. So you've got, let me see, Arsenal, Man City, Tottenham, Liverpool. Am I missing anyone? Like, those 4, like, they're almost a lock for the top 4.
Brighton are in there, I think.
Brighton's too leaky, man. Like, they give up too many goals.
Yeah, but I feel like in terms of
they also have bad injury issues.
Competing every week in the league, I think if they're healthy, I think that's a good point. I think they're a team that can compete. You said Newcastle, I think.
Oh yeah, Newcastle.
You did. Yeah, I think Newcastle. Yeah, Newcastle is right up there. Will be challenging despite tying Wolves this week. But it feels like really a stratified, almost like split apart Premier League this year.
Yeah. But like the competition for like the top 4, it's hard for me to see. Like, Tottenham and Newcastle will probably, I mean, Tottenham could stay on in this sort of form. I don't know, but like, they're playing really well, but like, I could see them and Newcastle fighting over the 4th spot, and then one of them will take the 5th. Like, assuming how the CL works out, one of them will take the 5th slot, and then the fight for the 2 European berths are like, it could be anyone that isn't Luton Town, Bournemouth, Burnley, and Sheffield.
Well, the last team is probably Aston Villa. I think Aston Villa's playing
Brighton.
Yeah, I think they're
like Wolves are way better than I thought they would be.
Yeah, I think Wolves are going to fall off. I'm not so sure they'll continue. I think they'll be safe, but I think Aston Villa might be actually the real dark horse to make that top 5. I don't think it's outrageous that they outpace Newcastle despite losing on the first day of the season.
Yeah, Derek, what do you think about Aston Villa's chances?
They're improving.
They're what?
They're improving.
How long has this process been ongoing?
Early in the season, Derek, like, we had a debate, like a lively disagreement, and I said that I thought Villa would be a powerhouse this season or something like that, and Derek was like, they're trash.
Well, they had I forget what that really I overreacted to whatever that really bad loss
it was like 5-0 to Newcastle.
Which is just like seems like a complete aberration now at this point. I don't know that I'm confident they're going to finish 5th, but I do think they're going to finish, top 7. I think the table's mostly shook itself out at this point. I don't think Brentford's quite as good as they are at the moment. Like, I think Chelsea will pass them when they get healthy, despite the obliteration of last weekend. But the rest of the table makes a lot of sense to me, to be honest, at this point. And you can see there's, in my mind, there's kind of like 4 very clear tiers to it, and I don't think there's going to be a lot of movement outside of that. I mean, there will be, but I think those tiers are going to stay intact. So,
circling back to something you said earlier, Derek, Nkunku is apparently way ahead of schedule for return.
Yeah, I thought I saw, and I think I actually posted the article. I was kind of perusing through. It sounded like he was training on grass already.
Yeah. He's already back at training.
I wouldn't say I'm not training on grass 18 months later. But anyways,
but he's only done his knee one time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
he's not like 12.
Okay. Maybe it's not comparable. But yeah, I mean,
you also aren't worth like $70 million and have a team of.
Well, and that's the interesting thing, right? When you look through in particular this injury report, there's people that are like much closer to coming back than I would have thought, and then there's players like Chukwuemeka, I think it is, that like it's just like, oh, it's continuing to linger, and he's not like close to coming back. It's like what? So what did he like? It's an ankle injury, right? Like
no, it was a knee injury.
That was a knee injury.
Yeah.
Did they scope it?
Yes,
they must have.
Okay, I'm mixing up whichever one, but
yeah,
you're right. I mean, the
ankle was Romeo Lavia.
Okay, that's right. Yeah, Lavia. Yeah, and so they're aggressive about rehabbing people. You're right. Doing with it unless it's an ACL, like they fix it and they rehab it and they try to push that timeline up. So, yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how much money we're willing to spend in the winter window if he's close to or coming back.
I still think, like, I don't see Nkunku as a 9. Like, I think
it's not ideal. You're right. Yeah, it's not ideal. But I don't know what the hell else. I don't know. We're gonna have to bring out the checkbook again. We might, right?
Well, Nicholas Jackson is definitely not at the level. Are we all agreed on that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what they like. Maybe they loan him out. I think they also sell Broja. He's got links to some Italian teams now. So, like, I think he'll go. Maybe they loan Jackson out somewhere. They're gonna have to recall a couple loans because they've like Audrey Santos is like just not even making the bench for Nottingham.
They've got too many damn attackers on that team.
Yeah, like they brought him in on loan and then like bought a bunch of attackers
forwards. Yeah.
I don't know why they did that a second year in a row.
Yeah,
no, I think it was a great strategy. It got them up to 16 in the table.
They're like a late transfer window mayhem engine. You
remember how excited I was going through that whole list of transfers?
Yeah,
and then
dude.
and then they went out and just like disappointed me and everyone else for like 6 consecutive matches. Now it's like I don't even bother like looking at, like, I see the score line. I'm like, yep, all right. Doesn't matter who started out of that player pool.
Yeah, I like to see Turner play. He committed.
True.
Yeah, he committed an error leading to a goal in this match this week.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. Though I kind of like, I don't know. When you're playing with a team that's that bad, like shit like that's gonna happen. I don't know.
Well, I think he's also been pretty good for the most part. I think that he had a mistake, but I don't. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think that there's any real test for him coming from a second goalkeeper. So as long as he can maintain confidence, Steve Cooper keeps him in, I think Turner will be all right. I think he's looked good. There's kind of something about him.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah, he's
going to have to make saves on that team.
Oh yeah, he'll have a lot of saves to make. There are good players in that team too. Like Gibbs White, I think, is a really good player.
Yep. I agree.
Nico Williams, right, is an outside back. but he's injured right now.
Yep.
Yeah. There's some quality.
Is Steve Cooper going to start like coaching this team to like get points at some point?
I just don't think he knows what the best team he has is.
Well, it's like tough when you got 40 people to choose from.
Well, the same conversation happened last year, right? This team started slow. They're like, what the hell is going to, like, how does Steve Cooper know who to play? And they came on in the second half when they figured out how to play together. So hopefully that's what happens. I don't know.
Yeah, I think you're right, though. There's some pieces there. Like, I mean, Aurier was good last season. Gibbs White's been good. Alonga's coming to it.
Actually, I take everything back. I think that team is going to go down because Serge Aurier is the right back and the captain of the team. Oh, my God. That guy is a loose cannon.
I mean, he is, but he had a good season last year playing within the system.
I need to correct something. Santos did make the bench in this game, but I don't think he's been even subbed on in a game for them. Like Chelsea will have
subbed into this one, didn't he?
He did not, right? Oh, he did. He subbed in the 83rd minute. Yeah, Chelsea's going to have to recall him. They also bought Calum Hudson-Odoi, who is not in the squad in this case. I don't know if he's been in the squad for them yet.
And Alenga, correct?
Yes, Alenga is on. Like Alenga played, right?
I thought, he played. He started up top. I don't know how many games he started, but he looked good in this one of the bits I saw, and he's looked good. He's looked dangerous in that attack.
Yeah, that's what I mean. There are pieces: Alenga, Hudson-Odoi, Morgan, Gibbs White. Those three attackers sound like danger. Like that's a good amount of threat. You know.
Yeah, you're right. He was the one that banged one off the crossbar, right, Ryan?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to look. I don't know what the deal with Callum Hudson-Odoi is. I know he brought that up last week, and I don't see like what the hell's going on there. He must be hurt.
Yeah, I think last week I looked into whether he was hurt or not and didn't see anything. Yeah, I don't know.
It's weird.
They bought him for Chelsea sold him for like £4 million pounds or whatever. Like they sold him for basically nothing, but with a huge sell-on percentage if he like came good and they sold him. They get a big, it's like a 40% of future profits or whatever.
Maybe they're trying to save on incentives.
Well, and to your point, before, that's another pure profit sell because he was an academy member.
Academy at one point considered the greatest product of that academy, and it just fell apart with injury and like mentally he's got to be just. And the team
hasn't been very good. Honestly, the team hasn't been good enough, other than the half season or Tuchel.
Yeah,
you know, he's had really no great opportunity. He played like wingback for a while.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting with him.
Well, he did a loan last season to like, what was he at Leipzig? He was in Germany. Last season? Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
but Liverpool looking good there.
I'd forgive you for not knowing that because I think he played like the first 3 games and then they benched him for the rest of the season.
Yeah,
he played 14 times.
Yeah, 14. Yep.
That's pretty terrible.
14 caps with 1 goal.
So what do you guys think about Liverpool? Any hot takes?
I think there's no one scoring easier goals in the Premier League than Jota.
Mm-hmm. He's so good on the
outside
late
of
run.
That, not interested. I don't know. Nothing. I mean, Nunez looks better.
You don't like
season,
Jota,
that's not a hot
right?
take. No, I think he's garbage. I think Harvey Elliott's garbage too. I think they both have Napoleon complexes.
Jota is one of the best second action strikers.
He's so
good. No, he's
that
that goal, like literally just on a platter. Like he's literally just waiting there to like dink it in. Like I don't know. I mean, Ryan could go in there and do that.
He just couldn't make it the 40 yards.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ryan.
Don't make this about me.
You're going to be riding your bike down the sideline. I'm going to get there, guys.
Dude, I think Szoboszlai is like one of the signings of the year.
Oh, man. What a player.
Did you see that assist? He made the pass and he immediately, like he was already celebrating to the crowd in front of
Yeah,
him. Like he knew it was a goal as soon as he left his feet.
I love Szoboszlai. I loved watching him in Bundesliga and or wait, was it Bundesliga or did he come from the Austrian league? I don't remember. But I've like watched him in matches here and there over the last like 2 years, mainly because he was so potent in FIFA. Like that's how I first caught on to him was I like ended up with him on my FIFA Ultimate Team or something, and I was like, what is this guy about? Type thing. And
he had like Football Manager squad as well, or just FIFA? Okay.
No, because he's at Liverpool now, man. I can't afford him. But yeah, so he's a force, man. The thing that surprises me about him watching Liverpool play is how fast he is. Like he's really quick.
Yeah, that is, the build up to that assist, he was flying.
Yeah, and he has, I think, one of the best long range shots in the PL. Like we saw that earlier. I forget who they were playing, but he has a goal in him. Yeah.
I was really have you guys heard what's happening with Luis Diaz's family?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I forgot to make a note about that.
Yeah,
it's wild. Did they find his dad?
I don't know. I know they recovered his mother, but yeah. I don't know. I haven't heard anything about his dad, but I think going into that game, I'm sure, those guys they work together essentially,
Yeah.
So I imagine they were going into that game with a lot of emotion, and I think they really handled it well, which is, I think, a sign of a really good team.
Yeah, a really mature team and a really good coach.
A really good coach. And, you got to give the man credit for rebuilding his midfield, or what looks like a good rebuild of the midfield.
Yeah.
McAllister playing in that 6 holding role is actually working out. I don't know if it's a permanent answer, but I like him there. He's kind of doing Thiago a little bit with a little bit more physicality. That squad's good.
Yeah, I thought it was weird that they brought in Szoboszlai and McAllister in the same window, but he's gotten them to work together. Like I thought they would be playing in similar roles. Obviously, very different players, but
well, and didn't Szoboszlai play as a winger at Leipzig?
Yeah, I think he did both.
Yeah, so it's really, really cool how he's transitioned to that role. Such a physical player.
Yep. Yeah. Liverpool are real contenders, man.
Agreed.
I included it. So yeah, I included the Liverpool game and the Arsenal game just because they're top 4. They're in the top 4 right now, top 4 contenders. But they did what they needed to do in these games. So yeah, and yeah, the Diaz stuff is crazy. Derek, are you privy to this? Did you hear about this?
I just saw it now. I knew there was mention of it, and they weren't like getting into it on the coverage, which I mean, I guess I understand why, but I don't know. I guess like I don't know. Every time I see one of these things, my reaction is like, okay, well, like why were your parents pumping their own gas at a gas station in Colombia?
Yeah.
But, I mean, I guess life's full of choices, and that can be whatever you want it to be, I guess, if that's how you want to live your life. But I'm sure he's making enough money that they could live.
Listen, we don't all live in New Jersey Columbia, where they pump our gas for us, okay?
Yeah, in New Jersey, yeah. And actually, it turns out that you're marginally less likely to, run into situations like that in New Jersey.
Marginally.
As long as you're not in Camden.
It's gotten better over the years.
Yeah, it is interesting to think about. Like Mudrik's family is still in Ukraine. Now, we talked about how he's not making like insane wages, but he definitely makes enough where they wouldn't have to be in Ukraine anymore if they didn't want to be. But for some people, it's just like, this is my home and I'm not leaving,
I think
for
that's
a lot
probably
of people.
The sentiment. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think football has this, and football players, when you hear stories about this, we see them perform, but it does bring it all back to reality that, despite the fact that they make a lot of money, despite the fact they play a sport that we all love at the highest level, they still make all of these individual choices. And, we can agree with them or not, but the world still revolves. It's not like they stop because these people make a lot of money and play football every week,
Yeah.
So it definitely brings the whole sport down to earth in an interesting way. And I thought seeing the way that the team reacted to it was pretty inspiring. So a really good moment for football in the way that it can, make people's lives a little better.
Sure.
Or bring people's knowledge to an issue a little closer.
Agreed.
Definitely a inspiring but tragic. Hopefully his father makes it out. So talk about decisions, though.
Let's talk
about Erik ten Hag.
Let's talk about a manager who has none of those qualities that we were just describing of Jurgen Klopp.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys knew, but we captured some live audio of Pep before that game, looking at the team sheet for his opposition.
What the fuck is this piece of shit?
Tactics.
Restrain myself there.
Why did you do that, Eric? Tactics. Fuck out of here, tactics.
Yeah, that's one of the best clips of the season. I think is that tactics thing. Like, oh, okay, yep, you got it. You got it all figured out, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
that is a lower, that is a bottom four, like a relegation battle back four.
Yes.
Absolutely.
With Varane not in the lineup. Yeah.
Thanks for carrying the torch there, Luke. I'm looking at the match center on who scored, and I'm just at a loss for words with this.
Diego Dallo, not good enough, has proven it over and over again. I would actually back Harry Maguire a little bit more here because he has been doing well. I think he's not the reason for their issues. Johnny Evans has been a great footballer, but why is he starting on? He wasn't even in the again. He wasn't even in the team.
Yeah.
And
how old is he?
I don't, dude, give him credit, but why isn't Lindelof playing at center back? Like, why is he playing at left back? Do they really have no options?
35. I don't know.
God.
I will say this, and to Luke's point, I've got to give a shout out to Maguire and Onana for their work in the Champions
match, League, yeah.
Right? And
this is a team that is playing Champions League football.
Yeah.
Soccer.
And they deserve
that game was against Copenhagen.
Yeah, exactly. They deserved to lose that game too,
yeah,
right?
They did.
But coming out of nowhere to win my $50 parlay is none other than Harry fucking Maguire. Okay? And then when I'm about to lose my goddamn mind because I'm going to lose my $50, Onana from fucking nowhere decides he's going to make a save on a PK. Yeah. I mean, shit. Like, how are these the heroes that I've got in front of me? But they're there they showed up for me, so.
They're not the heroes you deserve or whatever. They're the heroes you need right now. Is that how the...
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Amrabat, like, seriously? Amrabat? Like, he is nowhere near.
No, he's not. He's not a PL level mid.
No.
Which means he's guaranteed to get the starts moving forward from Erik ten Hag.
Yep. And Højlund, I think he is a talent, but he's just surrounded by dysfunction.
Garbage.
Just absolute dysfunction. My favorite moment of this, so we should talk about City. City were great. City, and the point was made in the broadcast over and over again that City are obviously not at their best, but they're getting it done. This is a team that just finds a way to win, and they're going to stay relevant and figure out what works for them, and then they're just going to be this unstoppable force in the back half of the season. So it's almost like Arsenal needs to put as much space between them and City between now and whenever City clicks on, and then hope they can carry it the rest of the way. Haaland bagging goals, I think had it been a couple games since it felt like the standard he set last season it's maybe warped my view of what my expectations are of Haaland, but it's felt like he's been a little absent the last couple of games. So him getting a couple goals and an assist is a big game for him.
Phil Foden, what a player!
Yeah,
Like that, he is one of the best players on the half turn since Iniesta.
Yeah.
Like nobody can get into the pocket, turn, and play like he can. It's incredible. Jack Grealish was also seemed to be back at a good level.
Yep. Yeah,
which is exciting
it's a good thing. So Pep Guardiola is a notorious listener of our podcast, and earlier in the season, I took him to task about his not utilizing Foden, and it's good that he took. Yeah, it's good that he took my advice here. But yeah, Højlund, I think, man, we would have loved him on Chelsea. He would have.
He's a good player.
Yeah, he's a good player. It's just too bad watching like it. I don't know. They've got a real talent there that's just going to get wasted. And sorry, where I was heading is my two favorite moments of this game were Man United moments. One, they subbed Mount on, and at some point, like maybe 20 minutes later, the commentators were like,
"Where is he?"
Yeah, have you said Mason Mount's name one time? it was something like that. Like, he's been awful for this team. I don't know. I don't know what my take is on Mount. I don't know if like whatever injury he had all last season has really put him out of form. I don't know if he's a victim of the dysfunction here or what's going on, but it's a guy who like so many coaches seem to really value, and he has been absent this season. And then Antony coming on immediately decking. Who did it? Was it?
He just
Doku?
Took a swing
Doku.
at someone.
Yeah.
It just took a swing.
Yeah, that should have been a straight red. He's very lucky that wasn't a straight red. And then just absolutely loses his mind on the guy. And this is on Doku. And this is what I was saying this when the accusations were out there about Antony. And I think, Derek, you made me backpedal a little bit about this statement, but he acts like a psycho. Like the problem with accusations like that and guys who behave like that is it's hard for me to not like use my imagination here and be like, yeah, he was in this game for like 2 minutes and like decked a guy for no reason and then looked like he was ready to fight him. And yeah, I mean,
well, because there's no imagination needed, right? Like you and I see these pieces of shit every day in our lives, right?
Yeah.
It's like I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's not like you can't just ignore it anymore. Like especially when it's right in front of you like that, and like give Doku credit for not just clapping this motherfucker up. I mean, like Rodri's over here choking people because they say not nice things about him, and Doku's getting screamed at by this piece of shit and like didn't just knock him out. So good for Doku.
Yeah, it's very little maturity in Anthony's game.
What a player Doku is, by the way.
Yeah, so I think Doku is the way that Pep is trying to change the team, bringing in more of a ball carrying winger, someone who will.
Yeah, he is a baller.
Yeah, I think he has good potential. I think he's a little rough still, but he will be a player.
Yeah,
I think without a doubt. Alvarez continues to produce. The team are different with Rodri in it. One note on Man United, I'd be curious to hear what you guys think of Bruno Fernandes. I think the way that Bruno Fernandes holds himself on the pitch is like everything wrong with that squad built into one person.
Yeah.
And he's the captain of the team. At least with when Harry Maguire was captain, he's kind of a lovable thunk of shit. Like, you know, like he doesn't really.
Mom describes him as.
It doesn't really smell that bad. Makes some goofy mistakes, but just like everything, like the smell test doesn't pass with Bruno. Like he acts like he is like the number one fucking dude on the pitch. Like it's all about him, and he sucks all of the like emotional energy out of the team when he's.
He's on the right team right now. Like he belongs nowhere else. He belongs exactly where he is with Eric Ten Hag.
I agree.
Yeah. Fernandes is the dark heart of Man United is my read on this.
I feel like when attacking players are that dark heart, you know, a holding midfielder like Roy Keane, right? he has a dark heart, but he takes that and he fucks people up with it.
Yeah.
Bruno Fernandes is supposed to be his creative, energetic player, and he's just negative all the time.
Yep. Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I'd rather see that dark heart just as a holding midfielder destroying somebody than like prancing around like he has no responsibility.
Yeah.
Do you know who has the highest average match rating on Man United?
I would assume Bruno Fernandes, but
it's got McTominay?
No, it's Bruno.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, he makes the most critical passes for the team. Like, he does do things, but it's more of like an energy thing.
Yeah. Well, or leadership, right? Yeah. I mean, like, that's important. That's what you're looking for out of your captain or anyone else that's in the starting 11, right? Like, he's not it.
Like, I have no stakes in it, but watching him put the wreath at the center when Sir Bobby Robinson died, like, I have no emotional connection to Sir Bobby Robinson or Man United, but it kind of made me a little sick. I was like, this guy doesn't give a shit about Manchester United.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Let's cover a few other like fringe topics. Derek, your favorite player won his 8th Ballon d'Or. Did you notice?
No, I'm really excited that the Ballon d'Or is back in the MLS.
Back in the MLS.
So it's been
with the GOAT.
I think it's been a bit of a hiatus, but yeah, it's good to have it back there. So
first Ballon d'Or to go to an MLS great, let's say.
The best player ever to play in MLS.
Yeah, for sure. I think he's the best player to ever play, period. But yeah,
agreed. But he should not have won the Ballon d'Or this year.
You don't think so?
He is not the best player in the world, or he did not have the best season. He won it because he won the World Cup.
Yeah,
the best players in the world were Haaland. I think Haaland really should have won it, even though I kind of detest Haaland a little bit. But Kevin De Bruyne, like there's so many players that had better seasons. I feel like
like instinctive, like I want to agree with that, but I remember I dug into the stats at some point early on in the podcast. It was like maybe episode 2 or 3, and it looked to me like Messi had the best season in the world out of all of them,
playing in League One.
Yeah. So that, but everybody talks about Mbappe should be in the running too. Like,
I don't think Mbappe should be in the running. He plays in League One.
So I agree with you. But yeah. Anyway, the World Cup always has a huge bearing on the Ballon d'Or, and so that's not a surprise. And what a year he had, honestly, with that. Like just shedding that baggage. So yeah, but this has got to be the end, right? Like it's the end of the Messi Ronaldo era. So now somebody other than them and what's his name? There was the
Modric won it one year.
Modric, yeah. So somebody other than those guys will win it next year, which sort of leads me to the next item on here. Have you guys watched Jude Bellingham?
That goal he scored in the Clasico. Oh my God, dude! He's so good.
He will not be denied. He's
like 20 years old.
Yeah, he's 20. Yeah, I think you're right. He's 20. I was going to say 21, but
it wasn't even his best shot of the week, I don't think either, because he had one that went off the crossbar, I think, in the Champions League, maybe midweek, if I'm remembering. But yeah, I mean, and like and to your point, like, probably all the other goals I've seen from this season were more impressive than that one, but he continues to just like, and they're important goals too. He breaks through when they need him to.
He is phenomenal.
Statistically, he may not be. We'll see where it ends up at the end of the season, but in my mind, he's obviously the most important player in the top 4 leagues for his respective team.
Yeah, they lost Benzema, and we're like, we don't need a 9. We're just gonna rely on Jude Bellingham to score all of our goals,
to play 3 different positions.
Yeah, and he was just like, I got this guy. Imagine this team when they like get a 9, like they're gonna be so lethal.
Is he the best English footballer in the world at the moment?
Absolutely. I don't think you could make a case for anyone who would even be in the conversation. I guess no, I can't think of anyone.
Well, I think Kane would be in the conversation.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, because he's a better goal scorer and a better passer.
Actually, Kane is having a great season.
Yeah, no, he is.
I would say, calm your nerves over there. It's okay.
Wait, how many?
I didn't say anything in particular. I just said I think Kane would be in the discussion.
You're not going to tell us all about how his passing is better than Kevin De Bruyne.
I said it was at the same level, but I still stand by that. I think in terms of like a difference maker and a ace in the hole, Jude Bellingham is just unreal. Moments of magic. Harry Kane doesn't create this individual moments of magic that Jude Bellingham does. He's just a goal scorer.
Yeah.
Like he'll score. But Jude, between the lines, is incredible. Like his ability to get out of pressure. Like he might be the best center midfielder since Zinedine Zidane, Xavi.
Yeah,
like he's at
that's
that
a comparison
level.
Everybody makes.
He's at that level.
He's like a more physical Zidane.
He's kind of like Patrick Vieira and Zidane put together.
Yeah,
because he can defend. He does work back.
Yeah. Well, he was more of like a box to box type at Dortmund. Like nobody knew he had this in him. He was more of a ball winning or a box to box type mid at Dortmund, and he's this like advanced. Well, I don't know. I don't even what is his position on this team? He's everywhere.
Well, I think in Spain, the kind of holding midfield position tends to be a little bit lighter. It's not quite as physical, so he can get in. So he can get into the space in between the midfield and the defense a little easier. So I think he's really taking advantage of that. He's just sitting in those spaces between center back, between outside back, between holding midfielder and center back, and he's just so good.
Yeah,
damn.
I mean, this keeps up. We're a third of the way through the season.
He should be the next Ballon d'Or winner.
Yeah, he'll win the Ballon d'Or.
There's no reason.
Yeah, and kind of out of nowhere, like everybody was like, I think everybody knew of Jude Bellingham by the end of last season for sure, if not the season before that, as like this raw, promising, high ceiling talent, but nobody was talking about him in the same breath as like an Mbappe or a Haaland. And I think he's just hijacked the duopoly that everybody was expecting to occur here. Yeah.
I would also, just to maybe give you guys a little, personal relief and anxiety relief, I would say Reece James might be in the same level as, say, a Kane and a Jude Bellingham within the English structure of players. He's just always injured. I think if
he's hurt.
If Reece James was never hurt, he would probably be a right back at Real Madrid right now.
Yeah, maybe,
or a team, or would have been had interest from.
Oh yeah, well, Real Madrid expressed interest in him like 2 seasons ago.
Yeah,
they were looking at him. So
I think that if Jude Bellingham can really continue, England's men's national team might actually win a tournament one day.
Yeah, if they can drop Maguire
and Calvin Phillips.
Yeah. Yep. And Jordan Henderson.
Oh my God. We're not going back there.
Yeah, there's a lot of they need to get rid of Southgate.
It feels weird.
We could sum it all up by saying, we could sum it all up by saying, if they get rid of Southgate, they have the money that the Premier League has brought to England and the trickle down effect to all the academies, just identifying and cultivating talent in England. Like that, you're really seeing that play out right now. Like they have such like the decisions that have to be made on who gets into the team and who doesn't is like wild. Yeah. What a problem to have. All right, Yanks in the ranks. Derek, what do you have for us this week?
Yeah, so I got a chance to watch the full replay because Paramount didn't cut it off this time. The full replay of the AC Milan Napoli game. That was a really, really good, interesting, exciting game. AC Milan, in my opinion, kicked the crap out of them in the first half, went up 2-0, and then substituted off Pulisic at halftime and then relinquished the lead, giving up 2 goals and finished in a tie. And Napoli kicked the crap out of them in the second half. And I don't know that like all of that was precipitated by Pulisic coming off the field, but they certainly would have liked to have had him out there to try and chase kind of putting that game away, and it didn't. But he continues to kind of be at the center of most good things for that team, which is pretty crazy. With Rafael Leao and Drew and all the other pieces on that team. But I think what's kind of been most interesting to me stands out the most is Musah's progress and integration to that team. He joined after the season started. Didn't have a preseason with the team. And in the last 3 games, I think he was 90, 77, and 90 minutes respectively played in those games. And just looked really good. And then, it's kind of taking control of all 3 phases of the game to contribute for that team. And there's it's not a slouch of a starting 11 or a team to be able to, not have to work the break in there. So it's pretty impressive. And I had to look it up and remind myself, this guy's only 20 years old, which is just crazy to be playing at that level. So really exciting to see. But another disappointing result for AC Milan, ending with the tie there in a game that they, I think, in my opinion, they easily could have won if they had kind of pulled some things differently around. Rough game for Theo Hernandez. I'm wondering if his play is varying directly with him changing his hairstyle at this point, because it seems to be about as all over the place as the Ben White's bronzer usage and hairstyle as well.
Where was Osimhen in this game?
Probably watching his club's TikTok videos.
Yeah, that's weird. And I mean, maybe was he hurt?
He wasn't in the team.
Yeah, he must have been injured. Yeah, he wasn't in the team at all. Yeah, I have no idea. Yeah, I didn't watch this, but so I wouldn't have heard any commentary on why he wasn't there. But
the Serie A table is pretty tight right now, with like 3-4 points from AC Milan to the top. Juventus is kind of in there. Is that right now?
Yep.
Yeah, Weston McKennie played this weekend, right?
I don't know.
I haven't taken a look. I haven't given an update on Weston McKennie in recent weeks. I don't think so.
I think he's been playing a little bit more. Back to Musah, though. What a player.
Yeah.
Yeah, what a two-way player. He doesn't really have the finished product necessarily, the finishing touch yet, but his engine from box to box, irreplaceable in the team. And he's a little press-proof, too. He can dribble out of tight spaces.
Yeah. I think out of those 3 like box to box midfielders, and I would say Reyna's more of an attacking midfielder, but out of the 3 kind of pure box to box midfielders, I think he's the one that's the best at the moment.
Oh, without a doubt, definitely a more fit, bigger engine than McKennie. And you're right about Reyna. Reyna doesn't want to be within 40 yards of his own goal. He's not looking to defend.
Yeah, he'll play a role, but that's not like the best way for us to use him.
Not that Greg Berhalter would know the best way to use any of his players, but
do you think him and like Eric Ten Hag just like have their own Discord server where they talk about tactics?
And it's all they text tactics ? Tactics period. Tactics.
Where did you get these tactics from? I was talking to Greg Berhalter this morning.
But I'm really encouraged by Pulisic. A little injury, I think it's a quad injury maybe, but really encouraged by the way he's playing. I feel like it can only be good for us. Good for the U.S. men's national team. AC Milan seems like a great place for him. Really happy he's ended up somewhere that loves him, other than, after those dead years at Chelsea.
Yeah.
And I really still can't believe that he didn't work out at Chelsea. It's just not that anybody works out at Chelsea, but really never given a chance. And now I think he's a player that needs to be loved, I think. And
Eden Hazard didn't work out at Chelsea. Hey-o.
I don't know. He's doing great at Arsenal, I guess. Sitting on the bench.
The Pulisic stint at Chelsea is just always going to be a big mystery to me. I don't know what happened there, man. But
he'll be better for it.
Yep.
I think that he's looking stronger, looking more motivated too. Like there was something that kind of always felt a little laid back about him when he was at Chelsea. Like he felt like not confident, but also kind of comfortable. Where at AC Milan, I feel like the intensity's back in his play. Like he's thinking quicker. He's not taking his he doesn't assume he's the best player every game. He has a little bit of edge or dirt on his shoulder, as Jay-Z says.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, all right. You guys have anything else you wanted to cover? I think that's all I had for notes this week.
What a great podcast, guys.
We did it.
We did something.
Yeah. A couple friends reached out to me and were like, no podcast this week. We're probably going to start delivering the podcast on Wednesdays so that we can get all of the PL games behind us, be able to get our thoughts established around what we saw, and then maybe have some commentary on Champions League here and there. So gonna aim to record these, I guess, like Monday or Tuesday, and then edit them by Wednesday, and that's when you guys will get your content. But wherever you're listening to this, if you could like and subscribe, that would be very helpful. We have a website, footballyanks.com, and a Discord linked in the show description. Anything I forgot, guys?
Chelsea Tottenham next week.
Oh yeah. We gotta
figure that out.
We gotta sort that out. When is that? What?
Monday at 3.
Monday?
Yeah, at 3 o'clock.
Monday at 3.
All right, I will clear my schedule.
Derek, don't think about it too hard.
Yeah. All right. We've got some scheming to do.
Peace.
That's a pod.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks for tuning in to the Football Yanks podcast. Be sure to subscribe wherever you heard this podcast so you never miss a future episode. We'll see you next time.